The palace of Virelia glowed under the twin moons. For a moment the city looked calm and beautiful, but inside the palace walls tension was growing. The conspirators had been stopped twice, yet everyone knew they would try again. The wedding between Princess Leora and Commander Daniel Hayes was only 2 days away. Many feared the ceremony would become a battlefield. Leora sat in the council chamber with her mother. The queen listened to reports from her advisors about possible sabotage. Leora's mind wandered to Hayes, who was working with palace security to improve defenses. She still felt the rush of their last victory, but also a heavy weight. The conspirators were clever and they still had a weapon somewhere, the Star Killer device. "We must act before they do," Leora said firmly. "Waiting for them to strike again will cost lives." Queen Seraphine studied her daughter. "Then you know what you must do. But be careful, Leora. An open attack could turn allies against us." "I will not attack," Leora replied. "I will unite those who also want peace. We must gather those the conspirators have cast aside, outcasts, dissidents, even humans who understand our ways." Later that evening, Leora met Hayes on a balcony overlooking the city. Wind lifted her long silver hair as she looked at the glowing towers. "They are still out there," she said. "Planning, waiting, I can feel it." Hayes nodded. "We've traced their energy signatures to an orbital citadel. It's a hidden platform above the dark side of your planet. They're moving the Star Killer device there, probably planning to strike during the wedding. We cannot face them with palace guards alone," Leora said. "We need others." Hayes leaned on the railing, thinking. "I know a few people. Human engineers who stayed behind after the last trade mission. They're not soldiers, but they're brilliant. They understand alien tech. And there are Erethians too. People who left the palace because they disagreed with your mother's strict rules but still love their planet." Leora looked at him with a spark of hope. "Then let us bring them together." The next day, Leora and Hayes traveled quietly to a neutral zone under the city, a place of drifting mist and broken crystal pillars where outcasts met to trade. Strange machines hummed in the corners. The air smelled of ozone and minerals. A group of humans waited there wearing work clothes stained with metal dust. Among them was engineer Clara Ruiz, a tall woman with sharp eyes and a patient voice. She had once worked on the Unity starship but chose to stay on Virelia to study their energy systems. "You're risking a lot coming here, Commander," Clara said. "If the Queen's enemies catch us, we'll all be in danger." "We're already in danger," Hayes replied calmly. "But we can stop them. We need your skills." From the shadows stepped an Erethian dissident named Kale, whose translucent skin shimmered faintly. He bowed to Leora with a hint of sarcasm. "Princess, I never thought you'd come to us for help." Leora raised her chin. "I never thought I'd need to. But Virelia belongs to all of us. We are stronger together." Kyle studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Good answer. What do you need?" In a quiet corner of the neutral zone, Leora and Hayes laid out their plan. The Star Killer device was being moved to the orbital citadel. It was heavily guarded and shielded by advanced energy fields. Direct assault would be impossible. But an infiltration, small, fast, and clever use could work. Clara unrolled a schematic of the citadel. "Here," she pointed, "is a maintenance shaft too small for their security drones. If we can bypass the energy locks, we can reach the device's core," Kale added. "I can provide codes for some of the old security systems. They built parts of that citadel using palace tech I designed years ago." Hayes nodded, impressed. "Good. We'll combine your codes with Clara's human hacking tools. Leora can sense minds and energy flows. Together, we'll slip in unnoticed." The plan was dangerous, but it felt right. This was not about two species anymore. It was about unity against those who wanted to destroy it. 2 nights later, their small team prepared for the mission. They met in a hidden hangar under the palace where a stealth shuttle waited. The craft was sleek and dark, its engines whisper quiet. Hayes moved among the crew, checking gear. Clara adjusted a portable energy disruptor on her back. Kale carried a device to scramble telepathic signals. Leora wore a simple but strong suit lined with silver threads to boost her powers. "Everyone ready?" Hayes asked. Leora looked at each of them. "Tonight we act not as strangers but as one team. We protect Virelia, Earth, and all who seek peace. Let us move." The shuttle launched silently, rising past the crystal towers and into the starry sky. Virelia's twin moons glowed below them, shrinking as they moved toward the dark side of the planet. The orbital citadel soon came into view, a massive structure shaped like a ring with spires reaching inward. Inside the shuttle, tension grew. Clara reviewed her hacking tools one more time. Cale double-checked the access codes. Hayes monitored their trajectory while Leora closed her eyes, sensing the mines on the citadel. "There are dozens of guards," she whispered. "Their minds are restless. Some are afraid. Some are eager for violence." "We'll stay in the maintenance shaft," Hayes said. "We'll avoid contact as long as possible." They docked under the citadel where no cameras watched. A small hatch opened into darkness. One by one, they climbed inside. The air smelled like cold metal. Thin lights glimmered along the edges of the shaft. Clara whispered, "This leads straight to the device's outer chamber, but we'll have to cut through 2 energy locks." Cale activated a code pad, his fingers glowing faintly as he entered sequences. "I built these locks. I can open them faster than they expect." Leora extended her senses, searching for guards nearby. 2 patrols on the far side, but were safe for now. The group moved carefully, crawling through the shaft until they reached the first lock. Clara set up her disruptor, a small cube that pulsed with blue light. "Give me 20 seconds. Kyle entered the codes while Clara's device hummed. Hayes kept watch, his hand near his sidearm, though he hoped he wouldn't need it. With a soft hiss, the lock opened. They slipped through and reached a wide maintenance platform overlooking the core of the Starkiller device. It hung like a giant sphere of black crystal, energy arcs dancing around it. Leora stared at it, feeling its terrible power. "If they activate this during the wedding," she said quietly, "everything will be destroyed." They moved to the final barrier. This one was more complex, guarded by a pair of automated drones. Hayes motioned for silence, then tossed a small reflective disc across the platform. The drones turned toward the noise. Leora focused her telepathy to confuse their sensors. Clara slid forward and placed a pulse jammer on the nearest drone. Cale disabled the other with a precision code injection. The path cleared. Hayes approached the main control panel of the Starkiller. "I can shut it down, but they've built in a failsafe. If we tamper with it, it might trigger a countdown." "Then we must be faster than the failsafe," Clara said. Leora steadied her breath, connecting her mind to the device's energy field. She could sense its flow like a heartbeat. "I can guide you," she said. "I feel where the traps are." Working as one, they began disabling the device. Clara hacked its main core. Cale overrode security layers. Hayes rerouted power lines. Leora's mind brushed against the energy, showing them which connections to cut and which to leave. But just as they neared success, an alarm blared through the citadel. Red lights flashed. "Guards were coming. They know we're here," Hayes said. "We have to finish now." Leora's voice was calm but firm. "Keep working. I will hold them back." She closed her eyes, projecting a wave of mental confusion outward. Guards stumbled in the corridors, their aim faltering. Hayes and the others worked faster, sweat on their faces. Finally, Clara shouted, "I've shut down the main core." But Cale looked at his screen and went pale. "The failsafe emits starting a countdown. 60 seconds until detonation." Hayes cursed under his breath. "Can you stop it?" "Not from here," Cale said. "It needs a manual override deep in the power conduit." Leora opened her eyes. "Where?" Cale pointed to a narrow tunnel below the platform. "Down there. But it's unstable." Hayes grabbed his toolkit. "I'm going," Leora stepped forward. "We go together." They slid down into the tunnel. Sparks flew from exposed cables. Energy hummed all around them. At the end was a glowing core with a single control lever. Hayes crawled forward, reaching for the lever. "If I cut this connection, it should stop the countdown." Leora placed her hand over his, her telepathic power linking with his focus. Together they felt the energy patterns. "On my mark," Hayes said. 3, 2, 1. They pulled the lever. The core pulsed violently, then went dark. The countdown stopped at 2 seconds. Silence filled the tunnel. They climbed back to the platform, exhausted but alive. Clara exhaled deeply. "You did it." "We actually did it," Cale gave a small smile. "Perhaps humans are not as fragile as I thought." Leora looked at Hayes, her heart racing. "You risked your life again." He shrugged with a tired grin. "So did you. That's what partners do." The group hurried back to the shuttle as guards swarmed the citadel. Using Kyle's codes and Leora's powers, they escaped before the conspirators could regroup. As the shuttle glided back toward Veralia, the team sat in silence, watching the stars. They had disabled the Starkiller, But the conspiracy itself was still alive. The wedding would still be dangerous. Yet they had. The morning of the wedding dawned over Virelia like a soft golden veil. The twin suns reflected off the crystal towers, casting rainbow-colored light across the city. Citizens gathered in the streets, their eyes wide with awe at the approaching ceremony. For the first time in months, hope and fear intertwined in every gaze. Princess Leora stood in her ceremonial chamber. Her gown shimmered like liquid silver. A small, calm smile rested on her lips, though her heart beat rapidly. This day could have been a tragedy. The conspirators still lurked, and the palace had never been more vulnerable. Commander Daniel Hayes arrived at the chamber. He looked composed, his uniform neat, but there was a tension in his eyes only she could sense. "Are you ready?" he asked. Leora took a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be." "Together?" "Together," Hayes confirmed. Outside, the city was alive with excitement. Floating banners bore the sigils of Virelia and Earth, and music drifted from crystal towers. Citizens whispered about the human who had already become a hero in their midst. Inside the palace, preparations proceeded under strict security. Every corridor, doorway, and balcony was monitored by loyal guards. Yet both Leora and Hayes knew the real danger was not obvious. The conspirators would strike from where no one expected. Queen Seraphine approached them quietly. "Leora Daniel," she said, "you have shown courage, wisdom, and loyalty beyond expectation. But remember, so today your bond will be tested again. Keep your minds and hearts together." Leora nodded. "We will, Mother." Hayes gave a slight bow. "We will watch each other's back always." The ceremony began in the Grand Crystal Hall, a vast chamber with ceilings arching high above and walls that shimmered with flowing light. Delegates from nearby systems filled the room, their eyes wide at the spectacle. The air was fragrant with alien blossoms, and soft music from living instruments floated through the hall. Leora descended the crystalline steps with grace, every step echoing through the hall. Hayes waited at the front, his eyes focused on her. For a moment, the chaos and danger of the past days seemed far away. As the ceremony began, subtle disturbances appeared, faint energy spikes in the corners of the hall. Hayes's instincts sharpened instantly. "Stay calm," he whispered to Leora. "Something is happening." From the shadowed balconies above, the conspirators made their move. A group of masked figures attempted to activate a concealed device that could release an energy pulse. Guards were stationed nearby, but they were deceived by holographic decoys projected by the conspirators. Hayes signaled Leora. "Follow me, now." They moved quickly but quietly. Leora used her telepathy to sense the guards' minds and the conspirators' positions, guiding Hayes through hidden pathways. Their synchronized movements were precise, she predicting where danger would appear, he neutralizing it before it could act. They reached the concealed device moments before it could emit a destructive pulse. Hayes examined the controls while Leora extended her telepathic awareness to identify any hidden traps. "It's rigged with multiple failsafes," Hayes said quietly. "If I cut the wrong connection, it could trigger instantly." Leora focused, feeling the energy flow. "I can guide your hands," she said. "Trust me." Working as one, they disabled the device. Sparks fizzled harmlessly as the machinery powered down. The conspirators, realizing their plan had failed, attempted to flee. Using secret passages and telepathic cues, Hayes and Leora coordinated with the palace guards to apprehend the conspirators. No lives were lost, and only the conspirators' pride. Even as they were led away, their frustration was palpable. They had underestimated the bond forming between a human and an Erythian princess. As calm returned to the Grand Crystal Hall, the ceremony resumed. Delegates and citizens applauded, though whispers about the attempted attack lingered. Leora and Hayes returned to the front of the hall, hand in hand. Queen Seraphine addressed the crowd. "Today we witness not just a union of hearts, but a union of worlds. Let this marriage symbolize the power of trust, courage, and unity." Leora and Hayes exchanged vows, their voices steady and filled with meaning. Each word carried the weight of everything they had faced: conspiracies, danger, moral choices, and unexpected friendship that had grown into respect and understanding. "I vow to protect you, your people, and our shared future," Hayes said, His eyes locked on hers. "And I vow to trust in you, to act with courage, and to stand together through every challenge," Leora replied. When they exchanged ceremonial bands, a wave of energy shimmered across the hall, a blessing from the twin moons amplified by the crystal walls. It was subtle but powerful, symbolizing not just their bond but the harmony between their worlds. After the ceremony, the newly united couple stepped onto a balcony to greet the citizens below. Cheers and applause filled the streets. Humans and Erythians alike celebrated, many realizing that unity could overcome fear and prejudice. Leora looked at Hayes and smiled. "We did it together." "Yes," he said, "and we will continue together." This is only the beginning. They had faced conspiracies, threats, and near disaster. Yet through trust, collaboration, and courage, they had prevailed. That evening, the Palace Council convened for a final debrief. Queen Seraphine addressed her daughter. "You have grown not only in wisdom but in strength. By choosing trust over fear, you have united not just a family but an entire planet." Leora bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Mother. But I could not have done this alone." Hayes nodded. "And I am grateful for your guidance. We have learned much from each other." Kyle and Clara stood beside them, representatives of the unlikely alliance that had saved Viralia. Kale smiled faintly, admitting silently that humans could indeed be remarkable. Clara's eyes sparkled with pride at their teamwork. In the following weeks, the newlywed couple worked to strengthen ties between humans and Erythians. Scientific exchanges, cultural programs, and diplomatic missions were launched. Former outcasts who had aided in the mission were welcomed back into society. The city of Viralia, once tense and wary, now buzzed with optimism. Citizens saw the benefits of unity, courage, and collaboration across worlds. One evening, Hayes and Leora stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons cast a silver glow on the towers. "Do you ever think about Earth?" Leora asked softly. "Every day," Hayes replied. "But now my place is here, with you, with Viralia, helping to build something greater." Leora rested her hand on his. "And I will always stand with you. We are stronger together." The wind carried a soft hum through the crystal towers, a gentle reminder of what they had accomplished. Danger had tested them, but it had also united them in ways no one could have predicted. Months passed and peace held firm. The conspirators were imprisoned, their plans dismantled completely. The citizens of Viralia came to trust humans, seeing that courage and integrity were not limited to their own kind. Leora and Hayes continued to work side by side, blending diplomacy with strategy, insight with practicality. Their love and trust became a symbol across worlds. Wherever uncertainty threatened, the story of a human and an Erythian princess reminded all that unity could overcome fear, and courage could triumph over even the darkest schemes. As the twin moons rose again over the shining city, Leora looked at Hayes and whispered, "We faced danger, and we prevailed. Together." Hayes smiled, his hand finding hers. "Always together." And in that moment, across worlds, species, and doubts, the galaxy felt just a little brighter. The next morning, Viralia shone like a jewel under the twin suns. The crystal towers reflected gold and blue light across the palace gardens. Princess Leora walked alone along the sky terraces, her long silver cloak trailing behind her. The events of the banquet the night before still weighed heavily on her mind. Commander Hayes had impressed her beyond expectation. He had been calm, quick-thinking, and courageous. More than that, he had not treated her as a prize or curiosity. He had treated her as an equal, though Leora would never admit it aloud. A soft voice startled her. "Princess Leora?" She turned to see Nyril, her attendant, carrying a small holopad. "We have reports," Nyril said. "It seems the threat from last night was not random." "There are movements deep within the palace underworld." Leora frowned. "The underworld? Who would dare?" Nyril hesitated. "Disgruntled nobles, mercenaries, and unknown allies. They are gathering weapons. I believe they intend to strike again." Leora's heart raced. She had grown up protected within crystal walls, but now danger brushed her world. "Then we must act," she said firmly. "I will speak with Commander Hayes. If he is as capable as he proved yesterday, he may help." Meanwhile, Hayes was reviewing the palace schematics in his quarters. He had spent the morning analyzing the attempted attack, tracing it back to subtle energy signatures left by the molecular disruptor. Every move of the conspirators was calculated. Whoever they were, they had been planning for months. A soft chime announced a visitor. Leora entered without knocking, something the Queen would never have permitted under normal circumstances. "Commander," she said, her voice quiet but steady. "I want to help you stop them. I know my people better than anyone." Hayes studied her carefully. "Are you certain? This could be dangerous." She lifted her chin. "I am certain. I will not sit by while my people are in danger. And I do not trust the palace guards entirely. Too many might be aligned with them." Hayes nodded. "Then we work together. We combine our knowledge. You know the palace. I know tactics and human improvisation. Let's see who's smarter, the conspirators or us." They began their investigation in the lower levels of the palace, the technochasms, a network of tunnels and chambers rarely seen by outsiders. The walls here were dark, jagged crystal instead of smooth silver. Strange fungi glowed faintly along the walls, and distant echoes made the corridors feel alive. "Most Erethians avoid this place," Leora said. "It is where the exiled, the discontented, and the curious hide." Hayes moved carefully, his training making him notice the smallest disturbances: a scratch in the wall, a barely visible energy signature, a faint vibration from the floors above. "This is perfect for ambushes," he said. "We stay close, watch each other's backs, and trust our instincts." Leora studied him. His calmness was contagious. For the first time, she felt that perhaps humans were not as fragile as she had thought. Deep inside the chasms, they found signs of the conspirators' presence. Strange crates labeled in unknown symbols, energy cores waiting to be activated, and mapping devices designed to track palace movement. "This is more than simple rebellion," Hayes said. "This is organized. Someone is supplying them with technology we haven't even seen used on Varelia in decades." Leora's eyes narrowed. "Then it is worse than we thought. Whoever is behind this wants to cripple the palace, maybe even kill us both, before the marriage is formalized." They followed the trail of energy signatures to a massive chamber hidden beneath the surface. It was filled with mercenaries and nobles, all working to assemble a device unlike anything Hayes had encountered. It glowed faintly, humming with dangerous power. Hayes whispered, "This is it. Whatever they are building, it's a weapon. We need to disable it quietly." Leora touched his arm. "Wait, we must not alert them yet. If we act too soon, they will escape." They retreated to a small side tunnel to plan. Hayes pulled out a compact tablet from his jacket. "We need two things: a way to neutralize the device and a way to identify the leaders behind this. I can handle the neutralization if we get close enough, but I'll need your help with your people." "They know the palace and its secrets," Leora nodded. "I will guide you through secret passages. The device is likely linked to the palace's energy network. If we trace it, we can shut it down before it reaches full power." As they moved back toward the device, Hayes and Leora grew closer in trust. He noticed her intelligence and decisiveness. She noticed his courage and cleverness. For all their differences, they shared the same focus: protect lives, solve problems, survive danger. They bypassed a series of patrols using hidden passages, and Leora showed Hayes how to use Erethian energy locks, mechanisms that required telepathic or precise movements to unlock. Hayes adapted quickly, using trial, observation, and intuition. "It's strange," he said softly, "how your technology and our problem-solving methods fit together. Neither is enough alone. Together, we have a chance." Leora smiled faintly, hiding her relief. "Then we must not fail." They entered the chamber undetected. Hayes crouched near the controls of the weapon, quickly scanning its systems. It appeared to be a star energy disruptor, capable of releasing a pulse that could obliterate everything in a radius large enough to destroy much of the city above. "This is far worse than a simple attack," Hayes whispered. "If activated, it will kill thousands, maybe tens of thousands." Leora's hands shook slightly. "Then we cannot delay. But we must be careful. Some of these people are my people, born of this palace. I do not wish to harm them unnecessarily." Hayes nodded. "We do this smartly. Disable the device, neutralize the leaders, and get out. No unnecessary risks." Together they worked quickly. Leora used her telepathic abilities to detect hidden guards and shut down energy locks silently. Hayes used human ingenuity to reroute power flows, preventing the weapon from reaching critical energy levels. Time seemed to stretch as they moved in perfect coordination, Each action precise, each step calculated. They were an unlikely team, one from Earth, one from Virelia, but their combined skill outmatched even the conspirators' careful planning. Just as they were about to finish, a hidden guard entered the chamber. He raised a weapon to fire. Hayes reacted instinctively, grabbing a nearby energy conduit and swinging it to knock the guard back. Leora used her telepathy to immobilize him briefly, enough for Hayes to disarm him. This was too close, Hayes muttered, breathing heavily. Leora looked around at the disrupted device and the unconscious mercenaries. They are dangerous, yes, but they are not invincible. I see now. Humans are not weak. You are stronger than I thought. Hayes gave a small grin. And you, Princess, are braver than I expected. You don't just command power, you use it with purpose. For a moment, the weight of the conspiracy and the danger faded. Two lives, so different in origin, had become allies by necessity. Perhaps something more. They secured the device, making it inoperable for the moment. Leora used her telepathic link to warn the palace guards and the Queen about the hidden leaders, ensuring their arrest. When the authorities arrived, they were stunned by the efficiency of the operation. Hayes and Leora were praised, though the princess still refused to show full emotion in public. Later, in a quiet corridor, Hayes leaned against the wall. You handled that well. I've never seen anyone move with such precision and calm under pressure. Leora tilted her head. And you survived a place where even my guards might fail. Perhaps humans deserve more credit than I gave them. Hayes nodded slowly. Perhaps we both have things to learn. As night fell over Virelia, the twin moons cast soft light across the palace. Hayes returned to his quarters, tired but alert. Leora remained in her chamber, staring at the stars. She thought of Earth, of the man who had faced danger without fear, who had worked beside her rather than ahead or behind her. For the first time, she felt something unfamiliar, respect and perhaps curiosity. Could this human truly be a partner in every sense? Could he stand not only beside her but with her? Unseen in the palace shadows, Krith, the conspirator, watched through hidden observation crystals. His plans had failed, but he was not finished. If the first attempt did not succeed, he murmured, the next will. I will not let a human take our future, nor the princess's loyalty. But he did not know that the alliance he sought to destroy was already forming. Two beings from different worlds had learned to trust each other. And trust, Hayes and Leora both knew, could become stronger than any weapon. The morning on Virelia began in a calm golden light, but the palace was tense. Word of the foiled attack had spread quickly. The royal guards patrolled more strictly than ever, and palace officials whispered in corridors. Princess Leora moved through the halls with quiet determination. She knew the conspirators were not finished, and the next threat could be far worse. Commander Daniel Hayes stood by her side as they reviewed reports from the palace security systems. Screens displayed the chasm's tunnels, the hidden chambers, and the unusual energy signals that still lingered. Hayes traced the paths, noting vulnerabilities. They've learned from the first attempt, he said. We need to be more careful. Leora nodded, but her mind was elsewhere. Her mother had called her to the Hall of Mirrors earlier that morning. It was a long oval room lined with reflective crystal surfaces, where light bent and shimmered. The Queen's presence was commanding. Leora, Queen Seraphine said he. The twin suns of Virelia rose slowly over the silver mountains, sending long beams of blue light across the palace towers. The palace itself looked alive, built from a living crystal that shifted colors with the seasons. Birds with 6 wings floated above the balconies, their songs echoing like soft bells. From the highest balcony, Princess Leora watched all of it with a heavy heart. She had grown up in this place of light and symmetry. Every corridor of the palace held memories of her childhood. The air was sweet with flowers that glowed at night. Her mother, Queen Seraphine, had always taught her that duty came before comfort. Leora believed it, until now. Today she had learned her life would change forever. Inside the Hall of Echoes, an oval chamber with a floor made of polished moonstone, the Queen sat on her throne of crystal. Court officials lined both sides of the room. Their robes shimmered with moving colors. Their faces were calm, but their eyes sparkled with curiosity. Leora entered slowly, her long silver cloak trailing behind her. She was tall even by Erethian standards, with skin that held the faint glow of starlight and eyes like molten sapphire. but the glow on her face dimmed with anger. She walked toward the throne, trying to keep her voice steady. "Mother," she began, "is it true? Have you agreed to this union?" Queen Seraphine raised her chin. She was beautiful but carried the weight of centuries. Her voice, when she spoke, filled the chamber like soft thunder. "It is true, my daughter. For the good of our people, for the safety of our borders, you will marry a human. Commander Daniel Hayes of Earth." The words struck Leora like ice water. She stopped in the center of the room. Her hands trembled at her sides. "A human?" she repeated. "You would join me with a creature so young, so primitive?" Murmurs spread through the court. Some officials looked away, pretending not to hear. Others watched with hidden smiles, eager for drama. Queen Seraphine's eyes softened, but her tone stayed firm. "We have watched humanity grow for centuries. They are not primitive anymore. Their starships patrol the border near the Keth war zone. Their diplomats have shown great skill. This marriage will bind our peoples." Leora's heart pounded. She thought of all she had been taught about humans. Their lives were so short, barely a century at most. Their technology was clever but rough. Their minds were unpredictable. She could not imagine one as her equal, much less as her life partner. "Mother, why am I to marry a human?" she cried out at last, her voice ringing off the walls of the Hall of Echoes. The hall went silent. Even the hovering lights above the throne dimmed as if to listen. Queen Seraphine rose from her throne and descended the steps slowly. She stopped before her daughter, close enough for Leora to see the faint lines of age around her mother's eyes. "Because," the queen said, "sometimes strength is not enough. Sometimes we must choose trust. The galaxy is changing and we cannot stand alone." Leora lowered her eyes, but the anger still burned inside her. She felt betrayed, not only by her mother but by fate itself. All her dreams of freedom, of choosing her own path, now seemed shattered like glass. Later, in her private chambers, Leora sat near the window, staring at the two suns setting behind the silver mountains. She clenched her hands around a crystal pendant, a gift from her father long ago. Her personal attendant, a soft-spoken aide named Niril, stood quietly near the door. "You should not question the queen in public," Niril said carefully. "I had to," Leora replied. "I cannot just accept this. A human, Niril, a human. How can such a being understand me?"
"How can he share my life?"
Niril tilted her head. "Perhaps he is not as weak as you think. Humans are strange. They survive things we would never risk. They change faster than any species I know." Leora looked at her, surprised. "You speak as though you admire them." "I have read their histories," Niril said. "They have done terrible things, yes, but also beautiful things. Music, art, kindness. Maybe your mother sees something we do not." Leora turned back to the window. She did not want to admit it, but part of her was curious. What kind of man would this Commander Hayes be? Was he as crude as the images she had seen of human soldiers, or was he something else entirely? Across the stars, on a ship named Unity, Commander Daniel Hayes received the news at almost the same time. He sat in the captain's cabin, staring at the message on his console. His jaw tightened. "Marry an alien princess," he muttered under his breath. "That's not exactly what I signed up for." He was a veteran of the border skirmishes with the Keth. At 35, he had already survived 2 major battles and countless diplomatic crises. He was known for his calm under pressure, his fairness with allies, and his refusal to fire unless necessary. Earth's High Council had chosen him because of those qualities. Still, the idea of marrying someone he had never met, and not even human, filled him with unease. He stared at his own reflection in the dark screen. Short brown hair, pale skin, tired eyes. How would he appear to them, these luminous beings of crystal and light? Would they see him as a hero or a pawn? His aide, Lieutenant Ramos, knocked on the door. "Sir, we're on course to Virelia. Arrival in 72 hours. Hayes nodded. "Thanks, get the crew ready." This will be interesting. Back on Virelia, Queen Seraphine met with her council after the confrontation with her daughter. "She will resist," one elder warned. "She is young and proud. She will learn," the queen said. "Leora has a good heart, though it is hidden now behind fear. When she meets him, she will see." Another counselor frowned. "And what of the dissidents? They already speak against this union. They say humans are unworthy." The queen's gaze hardened. "Then they will see the cost of defiance. The galaxy does not belong to one species anymore." That night, Leora dreamed. In her dream, she was standing on a strange landscape, Earth perhaps. The sky was pale blue, the ground covered with green blades she had never felt before. A man stood in the distance, his face shadowed, holding out his hand. She reached for it, but just before she touched it, she woke up. She sat up in bed, her heart racing. She did not believe in prophetic dreams, but the image lingered. A human hand, open and steady. She rose and walked to the balcony. The stars above Virelia glittered like a million eyes. Somewhere out there, Commander Hayes was flying toward her world. "I will not make this easy for you," she whispered to the sky. "I am not a prize to be claimed." Yet even as she spoke, a tiny spark of curiosity began to glow where her anger had been. The palace buzzed with preparations for Hayes' arrival. Banners of interstellar peace were hung across the halls. Security was tightened. Dignitaries from allied systems arrived, bringing gifts of rare metals and living sculptures. Leora moved among them like a figure carved from ice. She smiled when required, but spoke little. Her mind was a storm of questions. Who was Daniel Hayes? Did he resent this union as much as she did? Could he be a threat, or worse, a weakness? She retreated to the palace library, a vast chamber filled with glowing texts and memory orbs. There she accessed the human data files. Images flickered before her eyes. Cities, oceans, forests, crowds of faces, music, laughter, war, and peace. She paused at a small image, a human child helping another up after a fall. Something in that simple act tugged at her heart. Maybe, she thought, they are not all the same. As the sun set on Virelia, casting the palace in shades of blue and gold, Leora stood once again in the Hall of Echoes. She remembered her mother's words. Sometimes we must choose trust. She was not ready to trust yet. But soon the human would arrive, and the first meeting would decide everything. Far away aboard the Unity, Daniel Hayes looked out at the stars and wondered what awaited him on the crystal world. He had faced pirates, diplomats, and generals, but he had never faced someone like Princess Leora. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for two lives to collide, one born of starlight, the other of Earth's soil, in a union that could change history forever. The starship Unity broke through Virelia's upper atmosphere like a silver arrow gliding into blue light. Its hull reflected the twin suns as it slowed near the floating docks that orbited above the capital city. From the observation deck, Commander Daniel Hayes stared out at the alien world. Towers of crystal stretched far below, shimmering like frozen waterfalls. Rivers of glowing light ran between districts, pulsing like veins in a living body. He adjusted his uniform collar. He had been in dangerous negotiations before, but this was different. Today he was not only a diplomat or an officer. Today he was also a symbol. Earth had sent him to prove that humanity could stand beside a race far older and far more advanced. "Sir," Lieutenant Ramos said, stepping up beside him, "we're cleared to dock. The royal escort will be waiting." Hayes nodded. "Tell the crew to be on their best behavior. We're guests in another civilization's home. No mistakes." "Yes, sir." Down below on the landing platform, Princess Leora stood with her mother. Her ceremonial gown shimmered with faint white light, and a diadem rested on her brow. Her face, however, was calm but unreadable. A group of Erythian guards lined the edges of the platform. Floating drones recorded every angle for the planetary networks. The Queen spoke quietly to her daughter. "This is not just a meeting, Leora. It is the first moment of a new age. Do not forget that." "I will not," Leora replied, though inside her stomach tightened. She did not want to see him, yet she could not stop imagining him. The Unity settled with a low hoo,